It's time for Wrestling for the Culture, where we take a look inside to see what the wrestlers of color have been doing this week. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this edition of Wrestling for the Culture, another special edition. This is the second roundtable discussion as we discuss dedicated to Hard Work, the docuseries, story on Blizz and the CEO of Blizz Photography. I almost called him by his full government name, but I don't have enough time to do so. So I'll just call him Blake T and allow him to introduce everybody on the panel today.
First and foremost, thank you for not calling me by my full government. Second of all, is that Intercontinental Championship behind you green? Answer at the end. Third of all, today in this panel, we have the returning Yolanda, the designer. We have Christina Rivera. And we have up and coming E.W. Jenkins, known as Eddie. And thank you all for being here. In the same order, go ahead and say some nice blessings about yourself.
I'm wonderful. I'm a fantastic person.
What I hope would happen is that when I open my mouth, that Eddie's voice came out.
Nobody needs that. Nobody needs that. I don't even want that.
I design pro wrestling gear for a lot of people, from WWE to AEW, maybe Impact Wrestling, who knows at this point, and independent wrestling in general. So that's what a lot of people may know me for. And t-shirts back in the day, and fashion design, and a lot of cool things. So that's why I am Yolanda, the designer.
I like that. I'm Chrissy. Christina is actually my real name, but most of the people on the independent circuit call me Chrissy. I worked with Blake, Yolanda, and Brian for many years. We worked CZW, WSU, had time in RCW, MCW, basically the whole Northeast Indie circuit from 2005 up until recently. I was on the show, not so much anymore. So I would say that I am a retired professional wrestler. And I don't have such a long list of accomplishments like Yolanda, so that's about it for me.
I'm a student at MCW's training center currently. Blake is my mentor. My wrestling name is The Enemy. I'm very political in nature, hating on the Orange Man. So that's pretty much where I'm going currently, just being angry and in quarantine.
That is the greatest intro I've ever heard.
That was a really good one.
Mm-hmm. All right, so episode 3, the photographer. Let me play this clip. It's one of my favorite parts of this, and we'll discuss it in its entire. Well, we'll just have a discussion about it, but let me go ahead and play this part.
Ones would have to be behind the scenes, like at WSU, because that's where nowadays I see Blake the most, Blizz. And whenever we're doing photography, he's always standing there going, "Oh, you killed it! Oh, you killed it!" And that always boosts up my confidence. It's not really like a funny story or anything, but more along the lines of just on my journey, it's been an empowering thing where, you know, you have somebody that respects you as well as encourages you to be your best. So.
And one of the things while we were working together. All right. So as we jump in, Blake, you killed it. You killed it. The photographer is, you know, I think one of the, I don't want to call it the most important episode, but I'm going to say the most well-known, because to me, I know from, you know, to me, that's where you like really, to take a pun from one of my shows, broke through the glass ceiling in wrestling. Like, you started off in the business as a rapper and entertainer, and artist, most importantly, but you took your artistic abilities into the photography, and that's where you would go and pretty much dominate this landscape. When you sit back and watch that, what was something that stood out among some of the things that people said?
I think for me, one of the biggest things that stood out is it wasn't necessarily words. It was more so facial expressions of happiness, right? Because a lot of these things that we're seeing, these clips, they took place in different eras of our life, whether it was 2 years ago, 3 years ago, a year ago, 5 months ago. So like even with that clip that we just played with Sue, seeing a genuine smile, knowing that even in the vicinity that we were in, as soon as you may have walked in that building, you might just be like taking a deep breath, not be in the best mood, but knowing the things that made you happy besides wrestling was the photography part, and spending time with the people that you care about and your coworkers and all of that. Seeing things like that to me is what was more empowering for me for that episode, because it lets me know, even in a time where sometimes you may not get as many photography jobs anymore, or there may be a more wide range of photographers or anything. It's a time to let you know that in your time of doing things, you definitely made an impact on somebody's life.
Chrissy, you were there. You saw the transition. When did you realize that he had it when it came to photography?
I would say right away. Right away. If it's talked about a lot in that episode. A lot of the women are talking about how comfortable they were with Blake from their first meeting. It was just instant connection, instant chemistry. It wasn't anything uncomfortable where you're like, well, I'm not sure about this. I'm not sure about, working with him. It was always like, okay, this is what we're doing. This is, we're doing A, B, C, and D. How do you feel about this? Okay, cool. Let's go. Let's do it. So I knew from the very beginning he had a talent for photography, and I know as time goes on we'll talk about the teaching and all the other aspects, but photography just it seems like it always just clicked with him, and I always noticed that just the passion that he had for photography and making people look good and making his work look good. He put so much effort into it. It wasn't just like, oh, I'm going to take these pictures and it's whatever. It was about so many things that I don't realize, and a lot of people don't realize, of how lighting can change how a person's face is portrayed in a photo, or just the way they're standing, or if they lift their chin a little bit, things like little things like that he just knew that other people don't know. So I just feel like I knew right away that he was the best.
Yolanda, anything you want to chime in?
I'm sorry. My instinct was to say something rude. But I have notes to keep me on track. So the one thing when I started working with Blake in WSU, the one thing I did enjoy, the one thing I do enjoy working with him, or I know about him in general, is that you got some photographers who just point and shoot. Point, shoot, especially if it's the female wrestlers, and like their pose might be aight, but they face look crazy as hell. I love that Blake can help them adjust comfortably. Because you can easily say your pose is great, but your face looks trash. So never nothing to that extent, but it's helping them understand how to pose themselves, not just for a good photo, but something that makes sense, that relates to their character. So that was something very cool that I know Black G's in here mentioned something regarding that, but that's something that I enjoy about Blake as the photographer.
All right, so he's listed on here as the enemy, the student of the game.
Like the enemy of the people. That's what Trump called the journalists of the world. And that's actually what I do in my non-wrestling life.
So
I love this.
I want to ask you, because you weren't around for a lot of this, but you obviously heard the stories. What was the one thing that stuck out? Obviously, you learned a lot watching this episode, but what was the one thing that stuck out to you? And what do you think will stick out to the new viewer who knows nothing about Blake?
It's kind of like Yolanda said. It's the thoughtfulness and also the compassion of Blizz. Like he thinks about everything. It's not just the point and click. He's thinking about everything that makes up the photo, everything that goes into it. It's not just one thing, right? And that goes not just from photo taking, but to promos, to a match setup, to a finish, to anything. Like he's thinking about all the parts that put it together. So it's an actual decent product in the end. So it's that logic and learning from him the logic of how he puts things together that really taught me something about wrestling and continues to teach me something in everything I do.
So Blake, I gotta ask you this question.
Mm-hmm.
What was the biggest surprise out of all this in this episode for you? What was the biggest surprise when it came to feedback? Was somebody, perhaps it was a word somebody said, "Oh, I didn't know."
The biggest surprise for me is hearing Black G's be nice. That was the biggest surprise. I mean, of course, I'm talking about a good friend of mine in, behind the scenes and everything. But if anybody knows Black G's and the character, you don't really get to hear a more human side of him. So to hear him express what he may have expressed in private or, maybe to somebody else, and to hear him put that on camera in a genuine way lets me know that he's really human, and lets me know that, if you just cut a little bit into the hardcore of Black G's, you'll just get a returning Sabian. So that's for me, that was that was the big surprise. And I mean, it's just, it gets kind of cool, like when you hear from people. Like we have Chrissy on here, and we wanted a really quick story. When I first got into like indie wrestling, and that Chrissy and Noel Harlow, they were the first two people I saw like really doing presentations of 8x10s, where it wasn't just gear. It was all types of stuff. Whether it was outdoor gear, whether it was swimsuit, whether it was CZW Junior Championships. It was a different presentation of what that was, and it was cool to see like how much that evolved now, and how it's taken to another level now, and just having people like Chrissy there. And like I said, Chrissy was another one of the first ones that gave me a chance, and I talked about the other three too, Mia Yim, Veda Scott, Kimberly. Everybody has their different reasons, and to have that breakthrough, just all you need is one shot. I'm sorry, that kind of sounded like promotion of something, but I legit was not trying to promote something. But anyway,
promote,
me,
promote.
Yeah. All you need is one shot. As you may have been heard, AEW theme, of Lee Johnson, performed by myself and Sir Tizzy. One shot. But no, it's the truth. if you're willing to give somebody one shot at something, you don't know what can happen off that one shot. To be, dead serious about things. And these things gave me, Ruckus gave me one shot in wrestling, and that one shot has become 13 years. So anything can happen as long as you're good at it.
Prissy, can you talk about how I know one thing I noticed when I first entered the business was how Blake serves as a wrestling therapist in those photography rooms. And you and Yolanda know the infamous room that I wish we would have had more footage of. We mentioned on the last one. But can you just talk about how you watched that evolution of something that really wasn't in his job description but come about?
Yeah, definitely. That infamous room that you're talking about, the Flyer Skate Zone.
The positive room was the name for it.
It was the positive room. It was a great room to be in. Before your match, you were in there. At least I was in there. After anything I had to do, I would always go back in there because that was like the place to just like unwind, chill, like talk about, a promo that you might have done or a match you had, talk about the good and the bad. And one thing about Blake is like he would be talking to you and he would be setting up for a photo shoot with somebody else. Like he would be doing it all. And it wasn't like he was taking attention away from one thing or something else. It was always like he had all of his focus was on what you were saying or what you were doing. Like he gave everybody his full attention. So I never felt that it was, oh, he's not paying attention. He's not focusing on, maybe this part of the storyline that we need to talk about because he's taking pictures of so-and-so. It was always like a very comfortable room. It was always positive. And that was kind of like where I like to hide. So there was, always times where it was like, chaos and crazy during that time. And you always know you can go in there and just kind of like decompress, I think is the best way to put it.
Yeah. I definitely agree. I can tell you, I certainly learned a lot. And one of the things about Blake, which we saw, was the seamless transition. Now, he's one of my closest friends, so of course I'm going to tell the truth. He's going to be humble about it. But the seamless transition from doing multiple jobs on the show, when you have to take pictures, but also think of a storyline. And what a lot of photographers, I don't even know if there's any photographers that's doing that. Certainly if they are, they're not on his level. And somebody might call me out. He didn't say that, folks. I said it, not him. But I see a lot of wrestling photographers, but I don't know none of them who are also booking shows. And that's where we transition into episode 5. And I'm going to play this clip right here. It's another one of my favorites.
Now these are abilities that I can put into my art.
I mean, if I gotta think about it, Blake's like one of my best friends, pretty much. I can call him anytime. He always picks the phone up. He comes over and hangs out. And when it comes to wrestling, he did a lot for me. I mean, you take the best pictures you're going to see anybody take, period. So if you need a photographer, hit up Blake because he's the best in the business. And don't try to lowball him. There's a lot of promoters try to do stupid shit like that. You know who you are.
He's just straightforward. He's not like these other promoters like Gubble and stutter like, oh well maybe. Blake's just straight to the point. He got his own promotion, his own business. He's passionate. He talks about like the Japanese wrestling, the independent wrestling guys like Eddie Kingston, Loki, people from the CZW roster, from his own product with the WSU product. So he's very passionate. He don't like to fail. He don't like to lose. He's a winner. That's just all about. You don't want to lose, man.
Blake
So
has been somebody.
that's the thing. When we
tremendously.
look at words from two respected legends in the business, Ruckus and Homicide, they're not just handing out endorsements. That's the one thing. And I remember when we sat there with Ruckus. And y'all got to watch the whole thing because it's a lot more that he discusses. But you could tell he kind of sat there like a proud papa, as somebody Blake mentioned who introduced him to the business. He kind of sat there like, yeah, I told y'all I know what I'm talking about, and he's the man. Blake, y'all have had tons of conversations, tons of arguments, tons of disagreements, but also tons of success. And when you sat there and just listening to him, how did that make you feel?
So first, this is episode 4.
I thought I said 4. My bad. Sheesh.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. We just gotta make sure everything's right.
Yeah, no, I know.
For that, I remember when we went to his house to record it, and for anybody that's ever worked with Ruckus goes by the beat of his own drum. You know, you can be like, "Hey, we need you to talk about this," and he'll be like, "Nah, I'm gonna do it like this." But to hear what he said, it really does mean a lot to me because there's none of this without him. You know, I talk about that in a later episode, but he took the risk all off of a fan coming up to him saying, "I want to do Blackout's entrance music," and him just saying, "Okay," and then that happening, and then everything else happened just off the strength of that. So to hear him say those things and be so passionate, you know, it to me it did feel like a big brother moment. And it was like, you know, you always hear like your big brother say like, hey, little brother, I'm proud of you. But it did really feel like he was like, yeah, you know, this is why I chose this person. This is why I took chances on this person. This is why I took time on this person. And this is why this person has been able to do what he does. Because like you said, we didn't always agree. And I mean, he taught me a lot. And the first person to take me backstage. And it's a lot of things that he said in 2008 that may have not happened till like 2019. But like he Nostradamus predicted this stuff. And for the people on here, especially like Yolanda and Christina that know Ruckus, you know, sometimes he may say something and you're just like, yeah, all right, okay. And then sometimes he says something and you're like, well, holy shit, he hit that right on the head, you know? So to get that approval was great. And for somebody like Homicide, like I've looked up to Homicide since, you know, I was a young man, you know, and Homicide was one of the easiest people to work with. And for him to, like, when you went to him, Brian, to get that interview, he was all for it. And for him to just pour out what he said, like, I mean, he's another one at any point, if I asked him anything, straight, rugged, raw, straight up answer, but always respectful. So to hear that, to me, that's like 2 big trophies that I keep on my, you know, on my trophy case that nobody's going to ever be able to take away from me.
So funny story I want to reveal about that. As we're walking to do the interview, me, Homicide, and Hugh, he's actually getting on students and younger wrestlers about why they need to be, one, in contact with you, but also the importance of promo pictures. And like when I'm telling you, like he's like, come on, man, get to it right now. Not in a disrespectful way, but that like just let them know how serious he was. And then he looked at us and said, man, I'm just trying to get these guys right. They got one of the best photographers in the business right here. They need to have his photos on their resume. And that's like one of the moments where I understand why certain shows, when their guests enter the door, they start recording. I wish we was recording that walk. You know, it's a lot of stuff that you see, but you know, we record now. I wish we was recording that walk just to have that segment, or I wish there was cameras around. So that was a story I know I never shared with you, but you know, I thought that was hilarious. And it just goes to show the amount of respect that it wasn't just, okay, cameras on, I got to say something nice. No, this was legit.
Yeah. And like with these type of people, these aren't people you just can get respect from. You got to work your ass off for them to get that respect, you know, to earn that respect from them. And I mean, these are 2 guys where they saw us since day one. Like I had their mentality of like, I'm not playing. Like I'm here to do whatever the job is to make whatever we're doing better. And especially for somebody like Homicide, first time I met him, which was early back in RCW, you know, he saw that, and it's always been a good mutual respect with one another. And he'll always, if he ever sees this or anything, like, I appreciate him more than he probably knows.
Yeah, man, definitely. Yolanda, you oh, okay. Yeah, you sit back. This is now we're getting to the backstage roles. You two work close together on so many different projects. Can you just talk about that experience? Perhaps something that people won't see in the documentary, but you can share about working with Blake. Especially, I'm gonna call it out like it is. A lot of times, y'all were working together, and there was an idiot who just couldn't see the vision.
I'm gonna mute my mic.
Don't mute your mic.
What they gonna do? Hit me in the mouth? I'm just saying, it was an idiot. It was about 6'2", 500 pounds of bluff that just couldn't see the vision when y'all had great things planned. Sorry, Eddie, I'm the enemy right now. I'm gonna be the enemy of the people.
That's gimmick infringement.
You know what's so funny? In my mind, I'm like, who are you talking about? I'm trying to think. I don't remember nobody else. And then all of a sudden, the clues came together, and behold, I know exactly what you're talking about. So, maybe you should mute your mic. So, yeah, oh well, that's that person's loss.
Hey, these was just the views of Brian H. Waters, not anybody else on this podcast or any of the other co-owner of the Wrestling Route. Let's just make that clear. It's my view and my view only. Do not take their laughing as a cosign. Hey,
person cosigns. I'm trying to think. What? Well, you might have to help me. Okay. So now, after you say what you say,
so all right. Let me just say this. Part of the reason when I moved back to Baltimore and Blake was talking, he said, "Hey man, and I think we started talking ideas around June. I'll move in August. It might have been around May or June." He said, "Look, you come work with me at WSU. We got Yolanda. She does this. You could do this, and this is going to be great." So I'm like, all right, cool. And he just kept saying, all I need is for us to be able to work together, and we can have this team, and we can really get things going, And so, like I said before I got there, I know there was some things, but how y'all were able to really stick together. And I know a lot of times in these situations, let's call it for what it is. If you got two black people working together, the best thing to do is divide and conquer. But y'all never let that happen.
Yeah. So, all right. Now you just up the memories. Yeah. We were definitely let our powers combine. We knew what we could bring to the table. We knew how much this meant to us, and how passionate we was. So here's was not in the documentary. Was not in the documentary. It's the people hating on us, trying to fuck us shit up. Sorry, I'm not going to censor myself with this topic, but it's true. You just had people getting on our damn nerves, lying, making stuff difficult, which was real trash. You had people thinking that we were trying to take their jobs, and me and Blake is like, we don't want your funky ass jobs. Like we doing what we want to do. Like, you know what I mean? This is something that we and why can't we be an addition to? Why can't we just work as a team? That's the whole point of this. To work together to make it. We all have the same goal, which is to make WSU better and to make it a brand and not an afterthought. That was the biggest reason why I jumped on, because I was such a fan of WSU since 2009, 2010, and seeing it to become I don't even say it just didn't exist. Had a WSU Instagram with CCW stuff on it. Like, what the? So you know, maybe they couldn't get the get it done. And when we got here, we bulldozed in a sense because nobody was taking initiative. Or if they was, a certain Marshmallow Man wasn't taking them seriously, and so they were hating on us. So the struggle of that, us keeping our cool in front of them, because you know we can't allow them to see us sweat. Even though there was a time where I was ready to find homegirl's house and knock the shit out of her face, and
Yes, she was.
it took Blake to calm me down because it was so fucking disrespectful. So that's what that's the behind the scenes that wasn't in this documentary. Me ready to go find where the fuck she lived and knock her the fuck out. There you go.
Really quick, just to add to that.
Well, that's going to end up on all the blogs.
Yeah. Well, look. I
Blog
want to
it
add
up.
a little bit more to what she's saying too. Like, this was the thing about when it was working with Yolanda, and how it's been even to this day is like she said, no offense, we don't care about your job. We worried about trying to make something better. And we were two people, like I had felt like I was finally working with somebody that we knew we were just here to make a product better. And we could have took the easy route and threw our name on everything and put our logos. We could have did all of that, just like everybody else was doing, using and abusing that place. But we didn't, because we were like, yo, yeah, it's about us, but it's about them. It's about the product being better. People gonna know we put je ne sais quoi on it anyway. So we don't need to loudly say it. You know it because it's different. It's better. So you know we got something to do with it, right? And it sucks because, like I said, depending on how you look at it, you'll get these people that'll look at him and be like, well, you know, you guys did the right thing, but in wrestling, you did the wrong thing because you should have made it about yourself. But it's like, oh, I'm sorry that I was just trying to be a human being. I was trying to be a decent human being like I was brought up to be. But if that's looked at it wrong, then I guess this is why we took that L. But in my opinion, it's still a W because we still have our brand. Our brand is still respected. The people still respect us. And the people that took those routes, or the company that didn't want to take that route, they may not be in that position. If that's what it is, then you don't got nobody to blame. You can point all you want. Point this person, and this person when you need to be pointing that. Because it was all you. So,
Chrissy, you were a performer, a wrestler, and you was a lot of times, you know, trying to help keep things in order, but also try not to get mad. How did you manage to keep your cool during all of this? And when you see the behind the scenes, was there anything that you wish that people really could have seen?
So, how much time do we have on this? Because that's a very broad question.
That's why I asked. That's why I asked, because I want you to empty the clip.
oh my goodness.
Well, as far as keeping my cool, I mean, there was a lot of times I didn't. I'm going to be honest. There was a lot of times, a lot of frustration, a lot of nights of being stressed out. And I know Blake can attest to that, when we were on the phone many of night, upset about how something went down or how it should have been like this or been like that. And, you know, the powers that be that were there, they didn't allow, it seemed like almost like they didn't want to allow the success. They wanted it to be successful, but on their terms. Once it started getting too popular and too successful and the control was taken away, it became a problem and it became more stressful. It became, there was more issues, there was more, you know, pushback on things, and I know it made my job harder, and I know that it made Blake's job extremely hard, because it was like, well, you want this and you want that, but you don't want to give us the tools or let us do A, B, and C to get to D. You know what I'm saying? So there was a lot, you know, there was a lot of great moments. I'm not going to say that there wasn't, because there was definitely more good than bad. But when it was bad, it was bad. There was a lot of all right, I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to keep going. Like, we got to keep pushing. We got to make this work. And I mean, we did. We made it work. Blake made it work the best that he could. But, evidently it impacted a lot of things. It impacted his health and the stress, took over and things like that. And it became too much. So when you have somebody that doesn't want to be on the same page as you, or they don't want to, not necessarily like let you take control, but like Blake was saying, like, give me one shot to make this work. Like, they don't want to allow that because of their egos. Like, that's when it becomes like such a toxic environment. So
Yeah, it was that was the thing that really sucked. But I will say the beauty of it was seeing all of the women really stick together. And Christy, I gotta give a lot of credit to you as being one of the locker room leaders, and to see how you and Blake and Yolanda like holding all of that together. We talked about the time when somebody tried to come at Blake sideways, and if you thought that he didn't have backup, you had the whole locker room ready to take that person out. And Eddie, I wish you were there. I wish we could have had film, but we was too busy trying to make sure all hell didn't break loose.
Eddie, I was trying to make sure that I had enough bail money to bail out 13 women for knocking the dude out.
Yeah, and this guy was just, I mean, I've been called for what it is. I personally just think he was jealous. Guys a lot of times will see that there's a guy who's cool with all the ladies and think, man, I wish I could be that cool. So then they start making up stuff. They start getting jealous. And he had the respect. And it's granted, when you're a creator, content creator, you don't just, okay, this is what you do, cool. No, you do have to earn your respect. When I walked in that locker room, of course, Blake put me over, which I was like, wow, he told everybody, hey, this is Brian. He does videos and he interviewed Brock Lesnar. So he said that to everybody. But if I didn't have that coming in, I wouldn't have had it would have taken me a long time to earn the respect. And I still had to do it myself. But Eddie, you being a student, watching this episode, what was some of the things that you see today when you see him behind the scenes?
Again, it's taking all the little things and making it the one thing, right? And putting those things all together, or seeing what's special in that one person's, essence being person, and showing how to magnify that and concentrate it into that character and make it a bigger thing. And you see that, or at least I did see that every Tuesday in the promo class. Blake takes time before and after class to talk to people and to help them really solidify that character and to pick things, whether it be from real life, whether it be from little things that he heard in the original promo, or just things he's heard from talking to you, and put those into an actual promo and to magnify those things and to make it who you are. Because, you get that cliche saying of your character is just you turned up to 11, right? Well, Blake figures out how to turn you to 11 and how to concentrate those important things in your character and make them your character. And that's what I see all the time. And that's what I hear talking to him. We text every Wednesday about AEW or NXT or whatever, and just talk about what's going on. And like, if they would just do this would be so much better. And that's what he does if you're working with him. And I can appreciate it more.
Have you had the opportunity to actually sit down next to him and watch a match?
In the promo class, yes. I've never sat and watched a live match with him yet.
I will say you'll be in for a treat.
I look forward to it. Hopefully we can stop quarantining soon.
Yeah,
wear a mask, folks.
Please.
I want to add one more quick thing too. So with the whole thing with the guy and everything, him and I did talk I want to put that on the air. We did talk after he had to walk
Nice.
like a walk of shame. We talked like men. We talked it out like men. Squashed everything. He told me his reasonings. I told him what I do. Look, when you got to do 7 jobs at this company, I'm sorry I can't be out at ringside doing pictures too, but I'm also doing this. But we talk like men. All of that, squashed it. Haven't had a problem since. Just want to throw that out there because I'm not bitter about it. But I mean, you say those type of things about me. This is the type of stuff that happens. That's all I'm gonna say.
I'm gonna just say, this might get me in trouble. Let's just say, before I knew you as well as I did, I tried to throw that warning out there. Somebody didn't want to believe me. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I mean, hey, it happens. Look, one thing that people need to know about wrestling is you get a lot of warnings, and it's up to you to take them or see them for yourself. And I think everybody has done both decisions, and it's up to you to accept what happens after that. And for that one that I didn't see fully, it is what it is. Hey, look, I'm a man. I was wrong on that one. So what? It happens. I'm not 100. I don't bat at 100%, but I at least bat at 96.7.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I don't know if we might not be on the
I
same
need to
page.
know about this 94 that he did.
I'm just saying. I warned. I threw out the warning that he has the locker room, the pulse of the locker room in his hand. Let's take a quick break because I want people to hear this, and if I get in trouble, Blake will yell at me later. But I'm going to do this anyway because this is my show, and we talk about giving a shot, just one shot. Well, guess what? Check this out, just a sample.
Hell yeah.
Just one shot. That's all he wants. And I ain't gonna lie. I was gonna play a clip from the next episode, but I'm not because it's I want y'all to watch it. I want y'all to really take in one shot. That's all he wanted. And the story of 2019. Blake, I'm gonna let you take this one.
So episode 5 is the story of 2019. To me, I expressed to people, I think this is the most important episode. It talks about how the ending of 2018 and how all of 2019 happened. At the end of 2018, I lost my home to a fire. Then a few weeks after that, I lost my stepdad. And then a few weeks after that, my dog got really, really sick. So it was back to back to back things, very serious things that you have to deal with in a very short amount of time. And this episode talked about a lot of that, dealing with insurance, dealing with not having things, dealing with loss. And we're not just talking about like, oh, I lost my dining room table. You're talking about somebody that's been in your life almost, basically all your life, and all your adult life and everything. And that's no longer there. And finding out, what your worth is on earth. And maybe the insurance don't see that. And basically just having to start over. And you like I said, you learned a lot. And the thing is, I learned a lot about a lot of things from a lot of different people because of this episode. People I might not have thought I was close with, actually were there, and then there were people that I thought I was close with that weren't. And just small things, man. Like I said, sleeping on dining room chairs because you didn't have a sofa anymore. Sleeping on floors because you couldn't get a bed until basically December of the next year. Watching your dog struggle and just dealing with stuff with your family and all of that. It just felt like everything crumbled at once, and it was a hard time. And I'll stop at that for right now.
Chrissy, you want to add anything?
Well, I always tell Blake that this is the hardest episode to watch selfishly, because obviously I did not go through it, but I was affected by it because he is my best friend, and watching him and hearing him go through that was really hard. It became it wasn't about Blake the photographer, Blake, the teacher, Blake, the promoter and the booker. It was Blake the friend. And I think that it kind of made our friendship stronger. Not that it wasn't, but I just think that we got stronger during that time. And we both needed each other for different reasons. So not that it was a good thing that stuff happened, but it definitely strengthened our friendship. But it was definitely rewatching that and remembering, like, when he called me and told me that there was a fire, and and hearing all the stuff about his stepfather and things like that. It just brought back so many painful memories, and I always commend him on how strong he was during the whole thing and how he just kept going. I just, kept telling me, you just got to keep going, and well, it doesn't seem fair, and it does, you always say, why me, why is this happening to me? You always try to do the right thing, and stuff still happens. It's like, that's life. Like, you can't give up, and you just got to keep moving, and you got to keep focusing on your goals, and you can't give up, and things like that. So Blake always makes fun of me because I tell him, like, I told him before, I was like, we got to talk about episode 5 because episode 5 is so emotional. But I guess I understand why it's so important to his story. So I'm glad that I was there for him during that hard, part of his life.
Honda?
I really just want to say ditto because I selfishly don't want to talk about this myself. Yeah, Blake knows it took me a minute to watch it after it was uploaded and able for everybody else to see. It's kind of were we all going through something?
Eddie?
No, hold on.
Oh, sorry.
Before we go to Eddie, I want to say something real quick. So there was a couple people that I talked to, like, as these things were happening. And you gotta remember, this is early in the morning. This is like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning for both instances that happened. And when the stuff was happening with my stepdad, I was on the phone with Yolanda. As I was getting updates, and when I got the last update of, like, hey, we need you to come to the hospital because this might be a goodbye. And that was hard, but being on this phone with somebody, it was still extremely hard, but that was a lot. And even, like, with everything in that episode, I like even to this day. Let me tell everybody something real quick. I'm still not over this. I'm still going through this. I've been going through pain since 2018. There's no recovery. There's never been a chance for recovery. And I've talked to people that are in very, very great positions of their life. And I've heard them complain about stupid shit. You know, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can get a PlayStation 5 and an Xbox. I don't know if I can get 2 pairs of Jordans. I don't know. I don't understand why I don't have a match on TV. But the key word is you're still on TV and you're complaining. You're complaining when every day I still haven't recovered. All the times that people have helped and I'm still trying to get a part of a dream, and you're still thinking life's not fair because you can't get 2 pairs of Jordans. Life's not fair because you got to stretch out food. That's what I got to do. I got to stretch out food. I got to figure out how to buy things while getting my dog's special food every week. You know, like, so don't tell me life's not fair. Be blessed with these blessings you have. Just like I'm blessed that there's still a roof over my head. And I'm still, yeah, it's a struggle. And yeah, everything is hard. And yeah, it's hard to accomplish the dreams that I want to do. But at least I'm still going for it without those 2 pairs of Jordans. So be blessed that you're in a position that you're in. Because like that, your whole life can change. But I just wanted to say that before Eddie said his motion.
Yeah, exactly. Like when all this was happening, and this probably not even something I've necessarily conveyed or said to Blake. Like as soon as I started MCW, like literally a week later, I had some like really heavy shit happen in my life. I won't go into it because this isn't about me. But just seeing the determination and the resolve that Blake had to get through it and still put in the work and still fight for his dream caused me to keep doing what I was doing. Like otherwise it would have been like 1 week and oh shit, my life is spiraling. I need to take a pause instead of following this dream. But he had all these things happening at once. And just talking to him and becoming friends with him helped me stay on the path that I'm on now. And if it wasn't for that, yeah, I wouldn't be talking to you guys right now. Because that's a lot.
Yeah. It was definitely a tough episode, and obviously for me and Tizzy, it would never be as tough as what Blake went through. And the reason why I bring him up because he played a very key role in this one. Filming the Tales from Blizz, talking about it. So when he filmed it, he had to go back and kind of discuss like where he was, but it was still wouldn't compare, you know, for him. Most of the interviews have been done, to tell the truth. Most of the interviews have been done by the time this had happened. But one thing I will say is that I remember the call. And you know, and then I remember, well, I should say the text message, and then the text message that January, and it was so painful, but you know, because I knew what he was going through, and it's always when you have close friends and you see them hurting, like Chrissy said, it hurts. But I remember thinking when the first call happened, I said, "You just wrote another chapter in your story," and for me, I knew from a personal standpoint. My thing was I wasn't going to let him give up on this project. Not that I thought he would by any means, but I was like, if it was going to be here, it was going to go here because I knew that. And I have to commend you, Blake, for opening yourself up to be vulnerable for this episode. It's a lot of stuff. A lot of times people won't even do that. We talk a lot about mental health, and I don't mean to be disrespectful because my sister's a mental health specialist, but a lot of times people do talk about it like it's a fad. oh, you need to get a therapist. You need to do this. You need to do that. They talk about it like it's a fad, but it's real. It sucks that 20 years ago, Eddie, I think you're younger than me. I'm not sure, but I think you're younger than me.
I'm pretty old.
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty old. I'm about 37.
You're 37?
Almost,
Oh,
man.
okay. Well, I guess you're not. But so I will say that it sucks that for people that when we were in our teens, mental health didn't have this much focus. Getting a therapist, getting somebody to talk to. Because if we would have said, hey, I'm not feeling well, oh, just suck it up. That would have always been the thing. So to see Blake come out here in this story, and I'm gonna just put it like this: for the folks who don't know, he did the rundown. So I personally think, from a documentary standpoint, he placed it perfectly with episode 5. Like, take you on the high. I got you. Now let me reveal myself before I finish this. Let me show you something, and let me let you know that you may want to give up, but you can't. Don't give up. Your shot is coming. Your one shot is coming.
Also to add to that too, because we talked about this before it started. Christina is a huge Disney fan, and I cannot believe I'm about to say this on a live presentation, but for the first time, that mouse named Mickey was the one that really helped me smile because as we talked about in the episode, Christina got married and she asked me to be her mail of honor, and it took place in Disney. So, she let that evil mouse use his good to put the smile back on my face that I felt like I'd lost for the last 2 years.
I was gonna say you should post a picture of you actually taking a photo with Mickey Mouse. So
What? That exists?
I need to see this.
Place it directly after this comment.
Oh my God! Yeah, people. This is a true picture. Who is it? It's me, Fuente, Leva, Mickey, Minnie. Is Steps? Mia's in it too, right?
I think so. Yeah.
I'll have to go look, but unfortunately, that picture does exist.
Well, print it out.
Smiling away.
I was beside Minnie. Minnie was the one I was locked arms with.
I believe it when I see it.
Mm-hmm. But that does exist.
Well, let's go into the story of teaching. And here's the clip from that episode. It's from, one of his students.
Ooh, I get to see your analytics.
Oh. You love building from the ground up. Why is that, sir?
Well, before I say anything, I just have to talk about, that was the first Eddie I met, with the nice masculine beard. I've seen it, it's funny, since we've been friends, I've seen like 3 or 4 different versions of facial haired Eddie. There's been clean shaven, there's been the Triple H, there's been this, and there was that full masculine beard with the leather jacket. That's when I used to look at it and was like, yeah, this is the Negan of the crew, But building, man, like that. Look, first thing I want to say about this teaching thing is, and I've said it to my close friends, if it wasn't for Greg Excellent talking like, yo, maybe you should go to the school and talk about teaching. If it wasn't for teaching, I don't even know if I would have still been able to do this business. I really don't. Teaching at that school with the students and having just a real place to really do teaching, because I've done seminars and stuff before, but that really brought back the feeling of what made you love wrestling. And for me, that was something that clicked with me, that was like, oh my gosh, maybe this is that wrinkle that you've been looking for, that, another thing to add that you really may be good at, because you've been doing wrestling consulting all these years anyway, and now you actually can help with Nat. Nat is the teacher at the promo school. I mean, at the MCW school that does promos. You really have an outlet to teach from the ground up, and people like Eddie and like Angel Avalato and Kala K and so many of them. Big Mike. Man, I miss those students, man. I miss our class, man. I really do. And I love that passion of teaching and building, helping building these guys and these girls, to reach these levels and let them know that, like, you got a place in wrestling.
Eddie, I got to ask you this question. The first day you meet him, what's your first instinct on what the hell do he know?
I was very quiet when I first walked in there. Like, I wasn't sure what I was doing, to be honest. Being a 30-something-year-old man walking into a wrestling school and going, yeah, let's take some bumps. Let's figure this thing out. Let's do this, I guess. I had no idea what I was doing. I just knew that I still had some sort of passion, fire, drive in me that wanted to do something. I'd been at a wrestling school half a life ago when I was like 18 and in a backyard in Tennessee. My parents said, hey, go to college. So I didn't really get to do it, but I kept feeling that burning, that desire to be something more than some, I don't know, office shill that's doing his communications work and typing for the rest of his life. I didn't want to be that. So I came there and I did all that, and I had some stuff going on in my life and all that, and I thought I was going to stop. But again, talking to Blake, and he knew what he was talking about, because it all made sense logically. And there's a lot of people in wrestling, and I knew this beforehand, but you really know this once you're around the people and you see the kind of behind the scenes stuff that are just full of it, completely full of it. They don't know what they're talking about. They're just saying stuff to say stuff, to hear themselves talk. Blake says it, and then he says, this is why it is the right way to do things. So when somebody sits with you and talks with you like that, and they come from a logical standpoint, and they don't just come out of left field just to be in an echo chamber, me as a logical person, that's really what knocked it, put 2 and 2 together for me, and started my friendship and mentorship with Blake, I think. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here.
Chrissy, what was your thoughts when you first heard that Blake was going to teach at MCW?
I knew it would be very beneficial for the students there, based on my time working with Blake on a professional level. I learned so much. I learned about how little things, like I was saying with photography, the same thing with promos and storylines and booking. There's just little things that you don't think of that he will see that can change, the direction of something or how it plays out, and you might not see it that way, but he sees it that way. And when I heard that he was teaching the kids at MCW, I was really happy for him, and I was really happy for them because, like I said, they could definitely benefit from his knowledge. I didn't have a lot of that coming up when I was training and going to the wrestling school. They didn't focus a lot on promos and character work and things like that. It was kind of like, all right, we're gonna teach you a flip bump. All right, we're gonna teach you this. All right, we're gonna teach you that. Like, it was more of the physical aspect. And while Blake was never a professional wrestler where he would get in the ring with you and teach you moves like that, he would teach you so many other things that would help you develop your character.
Yolanda, you sat there with him. You watched while y'all were working together. You watched him pitch ideas, reshape ideas. One of the things that I've heard a lot of wrestlers say, as somebody who consumes a lot of wrestling documentaries, is that they always teach you the in-ring stuff. But what about like the finishing part and finishing school? When you watch this, what were some of the things that stuck out?
Well, first, I feel some type of way that you didn't ask me what did I think when I heard you.
Well, I figured you would ask that too. Answer that
too. You robbed me of my initial reaction, which was, boo! Don't let him in. You should have followed the punk. I can't wait to call me.
She's like,
so as I watched this, and so I took notes, even though I actually do know this by home. So hopefully I'll mess this up without me laughing. Yeah, man. So the funny thing is, when it comes to this pro wrestling world, all they care, okay, not to say it's bad, but some care about wrestling. That's not, I was going to say they all do, but that's not true. Some do, and the rest care about their likes. But a lot of them don't think the character development is important. Very important. And so that's something that me and Blake share a passion about. And I love that how much his students talked about that. And I love that he brought that up about his steps of character development, the presentation. And I got chicken scratch. But so the cool thing about Blake, when he figures all this out, he has a way of learning your persona better than you. And you don't well, I don't want to say you as well. The wrestlers don't, or students don't realize that this is their teachable moments, and he's kind of guiding you comfortably into figuring out your character, your brand, your brand DNA. So that's something that I thought was very important, that was discussed and shared, and I hope a lot of people pick that up because that's something that I'm very passionate about. I know Blake was there.
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say no. That's 100%. It just made me think of something that, like, what Eddie would say too, because I would remember in class, like, Eddie could cut a phenomenal promo. It would always just be. I would like the wordplay and the pace and all that, but then it was sometimes it would always not turn into the same promo, but a lot of the same stuff would come out of it, even if it was even if it was just like kind of reworded, and picking up on the intelligence and what he was bringing in. There would be small things like, well, I'm going to challenge him on purpose, but I'm going to do it in a nice way, but I'm going to make sure to challenge him, because if I don't challenge him, or if me and Nat don't say we're going to challenge him, he's going to just get stuck in doing this, so we would purposely switch it up on him on purpose, make it as uncomfortable as possible until it got comfortable for him. And now once it's comfortable for him, boom, he has another wrinkle. And then with somebody like Eddie, he was one of the students that saw it wasn't something being done in like a cynical way. And he picked up right away of like, holy crap, this challenge is going to make me better. Let me make sure to do it the right way, you know? And like, it's just like Yolanda, Christina was saying, even Eddie said, like, I think sometimes a lot of people don't pick up on that. And a lot of people, like when you ask Eddie, the first thing you thought, like, you know, what does this guy know? A lot of people do look at it like, well, he's not a wrestler, so he's not going to know anything. And it's like, bruh, I didn't put a lot of time into this, you know, and a lot of your favorites that's on TV, you know, in some kind of way, I may have helped. So just because I might not have taken, you know, that suplex, or just because you can do a pretty 450 splash, don't mean that your character's not as bland as mayonnaise. And, you know, you can't just be this and this, you know, and like that's the teachable things that you got to teach in order to really push on what you want in your career.
Hey, I heard an idiot wrestler say that one time. What does he know? Somebody I wasn't a fan of. I mean, but you know, I vividly remember that day at WSU. Of course, he didn't say it to your face, because I don't think he was supposed to even be there or trying to give direction. But that's another story for another day, folks.
Damn, I wish I was there for that. Was I there?
I thought you was at the show. I don't know if you might not have been.
Yeah, you might not have been there yet.
Yeah.
You know how you used to just, you used to just have to make this elaborate entrance, and
it's like, yes, finally the party can start.
Glitter's falling from the sky and roses. They're like, oh, here comes Yolanda 2 hours later.
Yep.
But one of the things I could say from a production standpoint, one is that a lot of these teaching moments happen during the week, because I can say that I have fun at the one where the clip you saw. I have fun watching him. Now, after long days of work, it's like, man, I just want to go home. But that was kind of like a boost, and I was, you know, just from, like I said, from my personal reflection, just a little bit disappointed because I wanted to get one of my mentees there as well, because she was excited when I first told her about this project and told her, you know, who Blake was and the amount of time he had put into the business. But one of the things that I did appreciate was just when I watch him teach students, I'm always soaking up knowledge. And I remember, and this is the thing that a lot of people don't understand, is that he will help anybody. There was a group one time that he was helping, and then I was like, I was just sitting there listening. And then one time in the car ride, because we had a gazillion of those, I said, hey, well, don't you think, what do you think if somebody did such and such? He said, man, Brian, before you know it, you're gonna have your own little group in a circle, and you're gonna be telling them, hey, why don't you do this, why don't you do that? What I'm getting at is there was never a selfish point where he would say, no, they're all gonna come to me. His motto when we first met, that long, oh so grateful ride to Arundel Mills and back, the time on a night that the Orioles didn't had made their first playoff game in years, but the sacrifices that we made for the night before show, he told me the best part about independent wrestling isn't who you meet, isn't putting the story together, isn't taking your pictures. It's about seeing your kids fly. If I can give them a canvas, allow them to express their art, and they move on and go and do bigger, better things, I'm happy. My issue is that a lot of those kids that flew seem to forget where they got the wings from, seem to forget where they got the ideas from, seem to forget where the promo pictures that may have been a centerfold in a magazine or in another country or in the PWIs or other companies, they seem to forget Who took the picture? Who gave them the idea? You know, if I had preaching music, it being a Sunday, I would insert the music because I see Sister Yolanda waving a hand and I see Sister Chrissy getting a laugh on. I'm not saying that people should turn around and kiss his behind. I'm not saying people should turn around and say, Blake, here's $1 million. But what I am saying, and what I mean is, you always remember who helped you along the way. Blake knows if I see something of his interest, hey man, check this out. Hey man, look at this. Here's an opportunity. How many times I tag you on Twitter?
Too many.
Don't realize. Shut up. That put myself over just for 1 second, right? I have currently 7,972 followers, right? And the reason why I say I'm gonna put myself over to put other people. There are people who he's helped that has triple that amount, that has close to 500,000 followers, and a simple at ITSBLIZ. And if for those who do not know, because I'm producing and editing this show, I'm gonna put it on your screen. I'm gonna put it on your screen. It's right there.
Look at that crawl.
You can go on Twitter and Instagram. Capital ITSBLIZ. Make sure you follow him. Make sure you mention him after you watch the show. Make sure you let him know. It's just that simple, folks. Always remember who helped you along the way. Never forget, because as Blake always say, the top of the mountain by yourself is lonely. Why not bring everybody else up? Y'all go ahead and hit the collection plate. Just go ahead and watch Dedicated Hard Work. Dedicated to hard work.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Hey, I'm not a preacher.
Goodness.
Music behind that.
Oh my goodness, man.
Don't make me play. I gotta praise.
Jesus.
Oh my goodness. Look, I wanted to say something to that is, look, to keep it real on my end too. You know, like, I'm not a clout chaser. You know, like, if I ask you for something, especially like for this documentary, right? All I've asked people for is feedback or advice for something that, you know, a person that is not a wrestler, what advice would you have? You know, because all the times I gave you advice, I'm just asking for advice in return of what you have. If I'm asking you that, it's not because of your clout. It's because of one of three reasons. Either I thought we were friends, either I thought we had a really good working relationship, or I respect your opinion, or all of the above, right? So it's 4 different things. I don't need your clout. All I'm asking for is feedback and advice, you know, and it's like, it gets sad for me because all I want to do is help everybody, you know, and I'm not trying to make a pity party or nothing, you know, I just want to help everybody. I want everybody to win. I want everybody to be successful in what they're in. And when I hear you say those things, Brian, and I think about all of that, it stings. It stings a lot. And that's what makes me more grateful for the people that actually take time and, you know, say things like, hey, I appreciate this, or hey, you think I can help you with this, or whatever it is. Hey, I'm glad we're great friends, all that. Even everybody on this panel, you know, Eddie has watched every episode. Chrissy has watched every episode. Yolanda has watched every episode. You know, so it's like, Brian, you did this whole thing. You know, it's like anybody, they can even just take, you know, 20 minutes to watch one episode is good, you know, because there's been plenty of times where I've reached out to people and they're like, oh, I just haven't had time. And then in that same conversation, they were like, I've been scrolling on Twitter in this rabbit hole for 30 minutes. And I'm like, yeah, 20 minutes is a documentary, you know, and you're featured in it. So, you know, but I, you know, like
We
I
all
said,
go to the bathroom.
exactly, you know, and I look at things and I just said, look, you know, I do all this for my family. I do this to give my family a better life. And like I said, I've been still struggling since 2018. I just want a better life. I want to do what I love. And for me, when I hear from people like Eddie and my students and my friends and all that, especially more of my students, when I can show them that it's not just talk and inspire them, that means the world to me. You know, and that's all I want to do is to inspire.
Final thoughts. Let's start with Eddie.
I mean, looking at that video that you played a few minutes ago, you know, what happened to me? I was a pretty good looking guy, first of all.
So real quick, I had to like look a couple of times. I was like, wait, because obviously when there's E.W. Jenkins, I'm like, all right, let me just make sure. Because, you know, this is the first time we met, you know, so I'm just like, let me just make sure I don't want to have the wrong student.
Sir, this quarantine is just, it's been a lot. Like, I don't think I really haven't left my apartment in like 7 months. So, you know, it's weathered me. My beard just fell off. I didn't even shave it. Here I am now. It's been a rough time. But just seeing that clip really, and especially the end of it there where it pans out, you can see Blake in his environment teaching, and you know, I see Cassius and some of the other guys just sitting there in the room. It's killing me. I want to be back there. I want to be learning. I want to be moving forward. And, you know, talking to Blake almost every day, there's other ways to move forward. And there's other ways to work on your craft while all this stuff is going on. And he's proved that during this whole situation. It's not been good, but he's also taken moments to continue teaching through all this. And I'm going to continue learning and continue to figure out how to make this thing happen for myself and to achieve a dream. So I'm keep my ears open, keep my eyes open on tests, and just make sure I keep pushing forward, because I know he's not gonna relent. he's gonna keep pushing that knowledge, and he's gonna keep the fire lit under me. So that's what I'm gonna do.
Chrissy?
Well, I was really honored to be part of the documentary. My hair has changed since then, but it was a lot of fun to actually talk about all the good that Blake has done over the years, not just for me, but for everybody, especially during our time at WSU, where he gave me a chance when nobody else would. And I just have so much respect for him, and I'm so grateful that he gave me the opportunities he did, because he didn't have to, and he didn't give me those opportunities because we were friends. He gave it to me because he really believed in me and believed I could portray a character that he had in his mind and a storyline, and portray it the way that he saw it. So I'm very grateful for that opportunity, and I'm just grateful to be his friend and be part of his journey.
Amen.
Look, before you get to Yolanda too, I just want to say this real quick. Christina, I would like for you to tell Tope, I apologize for not crediting him for being a part of this documentary, because he was a part of it in 2 episodes, and I did not have him listed. So let Tope the dog know that was my mistake.
I mean, I did notice that, but I wasn't going to say anything. So let him know, because I know he was feeling a little hot about it. So.
Yeah, I know. I messed up. I messed up royally.
I owe this for Yolanda.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, boy.
So, hey, go ahead, Sister Yolanda.
I'm excited. First of all, I hope Tope sues you for all the made up food that you eat. And this is great. I think I hear, is that presidential music? What am I hearing?
I said I owed it to you.
Oh man, this is even more beautiful.
Oh my goodness gracious.
I do know. I believe it was Saul who said that you're such a. I want to change the whole flow of this.
Oh man.
Then he said that you basically cultivate actors. And that stuck with me because I think you already know my mindset about the trajectory of all of this. And a lot of people, I feel like, take Blake for granted and think that he's going to be in this position so they can selfishly have them to themselves for quite some time. They're not going to be satisfied until Warner Brothers or Fox Studios or Tyler Perry pick him up, because the skills that he does for wrestlers definitely translate to actors. You know what I mean? So I'm I get on bunk and I say it. I'm on that type of time where I'm like, yo, wrestling, you don't want to love us? You don't want to love Blake? I tell him all the time, it may be time to move on, or just give wrestling crumbs, and do bigger and brighter things, And then when you want his services, it ain't gonna be on a favor. You're gonna have to ante up. You're gonna have to empty the pocket. So that is my final word, because that's what I want. I want him to be in that position where you got to sign a contract that just. What did you say earlier today, Blake? Pay me millions just to smile. What was this?
Oh yeah.
Flavor said, you gonna have to pay me, boy.
Yep. I told Yolanda it's all fun and games till I pop up on Tyler Perry's House of Pain.
Yep.
So,
keep thinking
that's
it's a
the
game
goal.
plan, people. Yeah.
But yeah, this was great. Episode 6, like I said, we got to see him. Well, the world got to see him as a teacher, and you really got to see that people value his opinion. He's not getting called into one of the premier independent wrestling organizations in the state of Maryland because he liked wrestling, and that conversation that actually started, that was years in the making. But I know, like I said, for me, one of the things that we didn't get a chance to talk about, but I'll say that I'm happy, is that he allowed me to achieve a dream, and that was calling a match at WSU, and even more incredible, calling one of my favorite superstars who just happens to be on this panel, that being Chrissy in the match. But getting that opportunity to be able to do something that I dreamed of, that doesn't happen for me without Blake. And, so I know I'm appreciative, and just appreciative of just being able to learn a business that I love so much. And I just, like Yolanda said, man, give him his bag, throw the bag at him. It's coming. I'm speaking it into existence. We joke. I had the preacher voice on. I'm not a preacher. It wasn't blasphemy. It's a preacher voice is a man-made thing, folks. It's not something that you can only do the voice if you're called. Big E did it, but it's man-made, so it wasn't blasphemy at all. But I just want the world to really respect his gangster and respect the work that he's done, because it's countless hours. And guess what? He's still working. If y'all only saw, there was pages of content of things that he does just to make sure that the people he care about, which are the wrestlers, the entertainers, the managers, everybody who steps foot in that ring. And if they're a part of a show he's booking, or if they step in front of his lens, he cares. Because guess what? If he finds out that you are a pedophile or somebody that is a part of the speaking out movement, and you're somebody that's disrespecting women, you don't get in front of his lens. You don't get on his booking sheet. And that's all I got to say about that. Blake, you take us home.
I will take it home with this. There's one episode left that just came out today. It is the finale. It's funny. Another one of my close friends, Lord Diaz, said it was the season finale. I said it was the series finale. He said he doesn't want to hear that. It's the season finale, which is episode 7. That is about just me all around as the person inside and outside of wrestling. Please check that out. Check out the whole entire thing. With all of that said, everybody on this panel, they all are very special to me. Without any of these people and only a select few more, I wouldn't be doing this still. I really don't think I would have. And with that said, I want to give like a special shout out. And please, anybody, if I don't say your name, like don't like take offense. But like
I thought he was about to hand out checks.
Nah, hand out
He's like, and I'm about to send a donation to each one of your PayPals and Cash Apps.
Well,
one can only dream, right?
Guess what? You can't hand out checks if you broke. So,
well, Yolanda just prophesized. Warner Brothers.
Well, hey, when they do that, then we can talk. You know, but I do want to. I want to give a special shout out to one person really quick, and that's Faye Jackson. I want to give a special shout out to Faye because I can't really get into why, but she's one of the real ones right now. Where she has that vision of making sure to look out for everybody, and it ain't always about her. So, Faye, I want to give you a special shout out. And, but like I said, episode 7's out now. I really appreciate everybody on this. It's great, and I would like to take this time for anybody else to promote anything they would like to promote real quick. You can follow me on It's Blizz on Instagram and Twitter. And I'm just trying to accomplish a dream and buy Lee Johnson's new AEW theme on Bandcamp right now. So buy it, listen to it, support it. So shout out to Sir Tizzy. Yolanda.
Oh wow. You can follow me on all the social media at Gimmick 247. Gimmick spelled with 1 M because it looks better that way. And you can find me on the Twitters and the Instagram. If you happen to find me on Facebook, you can friend me. It might take me a minute to friend you back. You go to my website at gimmick247.com if you would like a custom gear design. If you do want a gear design, please go through that way. So go to my email, because if you try to holler at me on social media, that might take forever too. So there you go.
There is no mites. It will take forever.
Yeah, that's true.
I'll add on the website. All right, Christina.
I don't have anything to promote, but you could follow me on Instagram and Twitter. It's at hello_Chrissy.
Oh, that was quick and to the point. All right, Eddie.
For angry political commentary and wrestling commentary, follow me on all the majors of social media at Jumping the Shark, and hopefully managing some wrestler soon when the world isn't a complete shit show.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And don't forget to also follow us on podcasts. Why don't you promote that, Eddie?
Absolutely. Blue Bar Cage podcast I've been doing for several years with some friends of mine. You can follow us at Blue Bar Cage. Blake and I have been doing a MCW Spotlight series. We've highlighted MCW Tag Team Champions, Rush Hour, and we have a new episode coming out hopefully this next week with Gia Scott, the women's champion. That's a really good episode. Like, if you don't know about Gia Scott, you need to learn about her. She's going to be a real one too.
And as Brian would tell you, I am co-signing what Eddie said. The Blake Diamond in the rough, Gia Scott. If you don't know her, you better know her soon because she's going to take over when you give her that one shot.
Amen.
Go ahead, Brian.
All right, folks, y'all already know. Follow me at Brian H. Waters and subscribe to the Wrestling Realm on all social media platforms, as well as Breaking Through Glass Ceilings. This week, I got Reggie Calhoun Jr. on, and I also just dropped an episode on Ice Cube. If he should be or should he be canceled? Is it fair to cancel him? Not going to let you know what I said on there. You got to listen to it for yourself.
Wow. Okay. All right. Interesting.
I've got feelings.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, folks, you heard where you can find it's Jumping the Shark, correct?
Yes, sir.
So make sure y'all subscribe so y'all can hear the feelings. Till next time, folks. Brian H. Waters signing off. So long, everybody. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for this week's episode of Wrestling for the Culture. For more episodes or more content from the Wrestling Realm Network, hit the subscribe button down low. Make sure you turn on the bell for notifications. Till the next time, too sweet.